Everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Good Life podcast. And today we'll be talking about a juicy one. We'll be talking about something that I like to call the stalling game. And before you wonder what that is about, it basically comprises of two things. Number one, procrastination, and number two, self-sabotage. Have you ever been in a situation whereby you finally get that thing that you've been praying for, that thing that you've been working so hard to get, and you find yourself losing motivation, or you just miss deadlines, or you're not actually doing what you're supposed to do at the time that you're supposed to do it? Well, that is where procrastination and self-sabotage come into play. I used to suffer with these things a lot more than I do now, but I still find myself going back to them sometimes. And I can tell you firsthand how they've stopped me from actually, coming into great things. Just of recent, I was given an opportunity to present something that could quite literally open doors for me. But I thought that I used to just be a last minute person. So I left the preparation to the very last minute. And a day before the presentation, I just started adding things together and running it just to make sure that I had something to show. On the day of the presentation, even the person that I was presenting to could tell that I was not fully prepared and could tell that I could do a lot better. In that case, I was actually given a chance to come back and, represent myself a lot better. And I'm grateful for that. But in real life, it's not always going to be like that. You're not always going to have the opportunity to represent. You're not always going to have the opportunity to come back out and do that thing again. Sometimes opportunity comes only once and you need to be able to seize it. But that's what procrastination does. That's what self-sabotage does. They keep you in a never-ending cycle of continuously doing the same things, and they keep you from almost getting to the finish line, almost succeeding, almost being the best version of yourself, but not quite getting there. And that is such a dangerous game because, again, everybody wants to be a better version of themselves. But sometimes we're the ones actually hindering ourselves from getting there. But before we continue, let's talk about these two terms, procrastination and self-sabotage. Let's understand them a little bit better. For procrastination, I think a lot of people just deem it as laziness. They just be like, oh, you're just being lazy. And yes, in a way, yes, procrastination can be tied to laziness. But a lot of the times, I feel like we procrastinate because we're waiting for that perfect moment. We're waiting for everything to be arranged, everything to be good in order for you to start. And we forget that in the real world, that perfect moment, that perfect time and perfect environment is probably never going to come. You're going to keep stalling. You're going to keep pushing things away. You're going to keep procrastinating and keeping things to the last moment and never doing it because that perfect moment is probably never going to come. And the most beautiful things come out from rough patches. I mean, look at gold, look at diamonds. They all come from rough patches. You need to be able to start even when it's not the best time. Just start. And with time, you're going to be able to refine yourself. But that's what procrastination does. It keeps you in that cycle. You keep putting things off till you never actually do them, till you never actually work into the greater thing that you're working for. And self-sabotage is a lot more scary, is a lot more tricky because a lot of the times we don't even realize that that is what is happening. A lot of the times we don't realize that we're the ones working against our own selves. And that's what self-sabotage is. Working against your own success, doing things that would actually stop you from succeeding, missing that deadline, procrastinating, doing things when you're not supposed to do them, or not doing that thing at all actually is self-sabotage. You are working against your own self, working against your own success. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we're doing it. We like to blame external factors and things around us. But sometimes we are the ones that have the problem. All of these things are things that actually affect your mind. You keep yourself in this cage and not actually work to do things better because you're so comfortable in that specific space that you've put yourself in. And again, like I said, it's going to take a lot of work. For me personally, and I say personally because procrastination and self-sabotage looks different for everybody. Some people, when they're procrastinating, they would never get the work done. I know myself. I will eventually get the work done. It might not be good, but I'll get the work done. And that's how procrastination has affected me, because I get the work done, but it won't be good. And what's the point of doing something and not doing it well? But there are some people that procrastination affects them and they are not even able to do anything. So again, it works differently for everybody. For me, my procrastination, I've had to identify patterns. I've had to take time and look at the things that were genuinely affecting me on the long run. I had to look back and say, okay, these are the things that stopped me from achieving what I wanted to achieve. I identified that pattern and redirected myself. I started to do things differently. But you will not be able to solve a problem except you know that there is a problem. So the first thing is to identify that pattern and, try to see how you've come against your own success in the past. Not every time blaming it on external factors. Sometimes it's you. Check within yourself. Another thing I had to do was create a system that works for me. Everybody is different, but I personally, I've had to put myself in a stricter time frame. So if I have 2 months to do something, I'll put myself in a month. I'll give myself a month to actually achieve that thing. So I know that, okay, I have a little buffer time to be able to achieve that thing in the long run. But again, it works differently for everybody, but create a system that works against the procrastination and that works against your self-sabotage. Is very important. And lastly, I had to find someone who could keep me accountable. And I think you should too. Accountability is very important when you're dealing with these things, because again, you are probably not going to notice that that is what is going to happen. I have someone that I tend to tell my goals and the things that I'm trying to achieve, because I know if I'm not doing them, he will definitely call me out on it. And that has kept me in a straight and narrow for a long time, for a long period of time, rather. So again, accountability is very, very important. Try to be accountable to someone or something and stick to it. Someone that will definitely call you out when you are not doing the right thing. And again, like I said earlier, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take you being determined to break that cycle. But on the long run, your future self will thank you for it. Your future self is actually depending on you letting go of those cycles. It's depending on you letting go of those habits. And if that is what you're going through currently, just know that you're not alone. It is something that most of us have dealt with, but this is your time and this is your sign to actually break that cycle. And with that, we have come to the very end of today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.